Today I choose to follow you.
Good morning, it's Wednesday, the 3rd of May, and I made myself a strong espresso. Actually, more ristretto, nice and strong. I hope you've got something to kickstart the day. If you have your Bibles, turn to Matthew 8, verse 20. Matthias 8, vers 20. Well, actually, I'm going to read from verse 18, just to give you the context. Now, when Jesus saw a crowd around him, he gave orders to depart to the other side of the sea. Then a scribe came and said to him, Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go. Jesus said to him, The foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Jesus Christ, the Son of God, the most blessed and the most intimately created, the most intimately connected of all of God's creation to God, didn't have a place to lay his head. Didn't have a fancy mansion, didn't have incredible horses, didn't have all the trappings of wealth in that day. And yet, he was the most connected, the happiest, can be argued, the happiest of men. He never even got married. He remained celibate his whole life. The normal things that we look to for pleasure and for purpose and for signs of wealth and prosperity and of connectedness and of intimacy and of well-being, Jesus wasn't pulled so much to any of those. I'm not saying he wasn't. He was a human being. And the Afrikaners, they were saying, a man is nie 'n klip nie. A man is not without emotion. A man is not without needs. A man has desires and needs and passions, and women as well. And yet Jesus roamed the earth, connected to everyone around him, connected to nature, connected to what was going on, the storms over the seas, the hunger of the crowds. He just had a sense of what was going on around him in his environment. And he was so in tune with that he knew how he could add value to every single situation, and that fulfilled him. So much so that when a scribe comes to him and says, I'll follow you wherever you go, he says, yeah, the foxes and the birds, they have places. The Son of Man doesn't have a place to lay his head. I don't even have a fixed address. I don't even have a place to call home. I'm an itinerant. I'm a traveling preacher with a band of guys who have forsaken the easy life, have forsaken the home life, have forsaken the connectedness to community to connect with the broader community. The broader connection is to mankind in need. And again, going back to yesterday, where we try and control things, Jesus had control over what would bring him pleasure, what would bring him happiness, what would bring him fulfillment. And that control over that was his connection to God, to walk in step with the Lord's will for his life. So maybe our fear is because we've put our hope and our happiness and our joy in stuff that is not stable, and the shakiness of that which props us up, which gives us prestige, which gives us status, is what causes us in the first place to have a fear, because that in which we seek to build a name is not something that we should be building on. Those are supplementary items that Jesus recognized. I mean, they had to pay temple tax. He's so connected with nature. He says, go and catch a fish, and when you open the fish's mouth, there'll be some money in there. Go use that and while you're at it, just cook me some breakfast. Is dit nie wonderlik om te dink hoe, ja, Ons baie keer wil ons sê, sy kop is so in die hemel, hy het geen aardse waarde nie. He's so heavenly minded, he's of no earthly good. Maar hier het ons 'n voorbeeld van iemand wat geestelik so in lyn met God se wil vir sy lewe was, maar tog het hy 'n verskil in mense op aarde se lewens gemaak, soveel so dat die skares hom gevolg het. Hy kon nêrens heen gaan en dan was daar 'n skare wat bymekaar gekom het want hulle het gehoor Jesus het gekom. So hy is iemand wat sy kop was in die hemel, sy kop was baie geestelik ingestel, maar hy het waarde toegevoeg in sy omgewing, in sy omstandighede, soveel so dat die mense hom nie uitgelos het nie. Daar's 'n paar gedagtes daar om oor te dink. Ek dink dit is hoekom ek vir my so sterk koffie vanoggend gegooi het. Maar mag jy hierdie Woensdag geniet en mag die Here jou seën met sy teenwoordigheid en sy wil vir jou lewe vandag.